We've all had those nights when our toddler, and I'm talking 2 to 4-year-olds, just won't go to sleep. The bedtime battles are real. And in this short video, I want to go over the 4 main reasons your toddler, 2 to 4 years, fights sleep. Hi there, I'm Dr. Sarah Mitchell of Helping Babies Sleep. I'm a chiropractor by training, but I found my passion empowering parents to teach their little ones to sleep and to parent confidently day and night. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe to never miss a baby sleep and parenting tip. So the 4 main reasons why your toddler fights sleep include the timing of sleep, nap interference, not enough connection time, and boundaries. And let's talk about each one of those here in depth. So the main reason is timing, and this is true at any age. If your timing is too early or too late for your little person, it takes a lot longer for your kiddo to fall asleep, and it can also cause interruptions into your nighttime sleep. Very commonly, I see toddlers at age 2 that have a bedtime that's too late. Like 8:30, 9 o'clock, if you're just turning 2, is generally too late, okay? But on the other hand, if you've got a late 2-year-old or close to 3 and your bedtime is 7:30, that might actually be too early for them. And so they fight sleep and end up taking a really long time. They pull out all the stalls. I'm sure you've heard them all. I need to go potty again. I need Kleenex. Can I have a glass of water? And what can you do about these stalls? You try and predict them. So have all those things at the ready so you can easily just meet that need without having to take extra time. With the potty, because that can be a legitimate one, especially if you're working on potty training, what you might do is create a potty pass. So that's like a circle or a piece of a cutout on cardboard that hangs on the doorknob. That's the potty pass that allows your kiddo to leave the room once to go potty, because that can be legit. Okay. So timing of sleep. So I kind of alluded a little bit there to, for some kiddos, going to bed too early could also be the problem. And where this shows up in factor number 2, which is nap interference. So most kids aren't ready to not drop the nap until around age 3. 3.5 is very, very average, okay? The sign for nap drop readiness, we think it should be that they don't fall asleep at nap time, but that's not the most common sign, because their bodies are used to napping at that time. The most common sign is that they won't fall asleep until after 9 p.m., 9:30, I've even seen 10 o'clock and 11, because that nap in the middle of the day resets their sleep pressure, that drive to sleep that builds up that we all have, right? And so their bodies aren't ready to fall asleep until later in the night. So for example, if you have a 3-year-old who naps from 1 to 3, they might likely not be ready to go to bed until close to 6 hours, maybe even 6.5 after they wake up from that nap, which is like 9:30. Okay, so nap interference is one of the reasons many of our toddlers, later 2s, early 3s, fight bedtime. Okay, and I know your daycare, they have to nap. Well, they actually, by law, most here in California, they have to have quiet time, but their bodies are so used to napping at that time that they do fall asleep. And so it is a tricky situation that you get stuck in, but not that it can't be overcome. I'm going to put a resource down here called my Toddler Sleep Terrorism Guide, where you can download the exact timing for your kiddo based on age and what to do if you decide you need to drop that nap and how to scale it back. It's called the Toddler Sleep Terrorism, and it'll be in the link here below. The 3rd reason your toddler fights sleep is you're not getting quite enough connection time, right? I know in this day and age, especially, now it's a bit easier sometimes working from home and getting home and getting everything done. You cannot rush a toddler, okay? You cannot rush a preschooler or even an elementary child. You have to preventively give yourself enough time to be able to have wind down time to fill up that bucket of need without feeling that they're rushed. They're so smart. They really know, okay? So often if we rush things, it ends up taking longer because they want our attention that much more. Now, the other thing that's happening at this age is that your child is, appropriately stalling and testing boundaries. So, I want to talk about how long your bedtime routine should actually take, because I've seen a wide variety of responses in working with families. So let's talk about this. Your bedtime routine from start to finish is likely about an hour. So from the time you walk into that bedroom or that bath, let's say, to the time they're asleep is likely an hour. You need about 10 to 15 minutes to get the teeth brushed and get them into the pajamas, maybe 10, 15 minutes of reading. And then it will take most kids about 20 to 30 minutes to wind down and shut off their brain. So they might be lying happily in their crib, talking to themselves, babbling, playing with their bunnies. completely normal. 20 minutes, very, very normal. Okay, 40 minutes, a little bit long. Maybe they're not quite ready for sleep. Passing out as soon as you put them down might be a little bit late. Okay. The fourth reason is no boundaries. So when we take away the physical boundaries of that crib, it can be too much freedom for many kiddos. Okay. I suggest keeping kids into the crib until age 2.5 and ideally 3 if you could do it. Often potty training starts to interfere, and people often make the switch around that time. You know, keeping them in there as long as you can in the crib makes things that much easier for everyone. But I know that safety sometimes becomes an issue as kids start to climb out. Flip that sleep sack around backwards so they can't take it off. The sleep sacks will help them prevent them from throwing their leg over the crib rail and climbing out. Okay. All right. Many kids learn that they can stall like crazy and keep you engaged. Who wouldn't want to have their parents' attention as much as they can, right? The problem is, at the end of the day, we're tired. They're tired. So they're a little bit more needy. And we just want this to be over because we've been patient all day long on both sides, right? Them and us. Now, assuming you don't have a timing issue, of not being ready, then this stalling is really just them wanting you. Because who wouldn't want to hold their parents captive while falling asleep beside them, right? More books, more water, another trip to the potty. There's no end to what you might offer or acquiesce to appease them, right? Okay, I'll do that one more time. I'll take them to the potty one more time. If this is the thing that will end this bedtime routine, then I will do it. However, all of this engagement tends to make things take longer. I know it feels counterintuitive, right? Like if I meet the need, then things should happen more quickly, right? And it's definitely true in those infant stages, right? But right now, it's their job to be testing boundaries, but it's also your job to be establishing some of these boundaries, communicating what that is in advance, and then being able to stand behind them. Because this is your toddler going through Erikson's stages of psychosocial development. Okay, this theory stages at different ages, our kiddos will go through conflict that they need to resolve and pass through to meet the next stage. In 18 months to 3 years, this is the autonomy versus shame and self-doubt stage. Okay. At this point in the development, your young children begin to express a greater need for independence and control, right? And I'm sure you've seen this during the daytime. I want the purple cup or the blue cup. I don't want that book. I definitely want this snack. They're exerting their opinions on the world to see what comes back to them and how much interaction and to some extent power that they have, right? These are normal things. These are good things. The challenge is it doesn't always have to be practiced at bedtime. You can practice these things during the daytime when you're not so tired and when you don't need the day to be over, essentially. Right? It's important for them to begin to develop a sense of personal independence and control. Okay. Kids in this stage of development often feel the need to do things independently, such as picking out what they will wear, putting on their own clothes, deciding what they will eat. And it can often be very frustrating for a parent, but it's an important part of developing a sense of self-control and personal autonomy. Okay. So just to recap, what this means is it's completely appropriate for your child to be exerting his or her opinion on what bedtime should look like right now and to see what comes back. But you are also in charge of her health and well-being, right? You need to implement boundaries, essentially. And there's a number of things that you can do during the day and during your bedtime routine to foster the opportunity for success. Oh, I see a like there. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like that one. So during the daytime, right, provide opportunities for your kiddo to be independent. Allow them to have that purple cup. Allow them to make food choices, clothing choices, even if you don't agree. No one's going to judge you about that mismatching outfit that's happening that day. Stripes and camouflage can definitely go together, right? And be supportive during potty training, but not punitive for accidents. And what should you never do? You guys already know this. It's yell, right? Because yelling, it happens. Gosh, I know I've done it. And we do it because we start to feel, especially at bedtime, like we're running out of options. We're feeling like this is never going to end. She's not listening to me at this calm voice that I've been using. I feel hopeless. I just need to be this over. And the beach ball that we've kind of been pushing down, right? These feelings of frustration that we've been pushing down, they explode and we yell. And you already know this, but yelling doesn't help at all because when you yell, your child feels shame and doubt and insecurity, and then they want your attention that much more. So now your bedtime routine will take even longer, or the next night it will take even longer. So how can we get around this situation? Well, we want to fill up their power buckets earlier in the day. So your bedtime routine, we want to set them up for success and independence by filling that bucket during that time. So, hey, do you want to wear pajama A or pajama B? Notice I didn't say go to your drawer and pick out pajamas, because sometimes too much choice is very difficult. So controlled choices. Which of these 3 books would you like to read? Which is why like a whole bookshelf full of books can be very difficult. It's too much choice. So maybe you have a smaller bucket beside your reading chair that has this week's 7 books that we can choose from, and each week you switch them out, okay? Because there's also something that's familiar as buyer's remorse, where after they read 2 books, they're like, no, that's not the book that I wanted. I really like, I see that one. I really want that one now, right? Minimizing choices is super helpful. And the other thing they love to do is having some say over their physical environment. So, hey, kiddo, I'm holding you. Do you want to turn the lights off? Oh my gosh, love that so much. Filling up the bucket, because soon you're going to put them in your bed or their crib, and you're going to take away the options, and there's going to be a very firm boundary for how things go from here, right? You have to communicate what that boundary is, what the expectations are. Then you need to try and get your kiddos buy into that. And that's a whole other ballgame about what I teach in that helping toddlers sleep class. But you want to make sure that you're responding consistently. So you want to have a plan for how you're going to respond to when your child gets out to bed or when they want you to lie beside them, and then be able to follow through night after night. So it's not dissimilar to like sleep teaching, you know, in my 4 to 24-month-old age group, right? I want to make sure that I've cleared my calendar. I want to have a plan. If they do this, then I'm going to do that. If they do that, then I'm going to do this, so that I feel that I can be successful at bedtime and in the night if there's night wakings, and not let that beach ball be pushed down and explode back up, right? Okay, little recap here. Our 4 reasons toddlers fight bedtime, right? We talked about nap timing, we talked about, and bed timing, we talked about nap interference, we've talked about no boundaries, and we talked about not enough connection time. So we got to fill up that little bucket, we got to give them some controlled choices, and then we got to communicate what the boundary is and how we're going to be able to follow through. All right, again, that freebie that I'm going to give you is the timing for your toddler's nap and how to transition no nap. You can click on that link below. I'll add that up there. And check your email. That's where you'll get that response. Okay, and if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe to never miss a sleep tip.